Arsenal, with Ronnie Rook and newcomer Alec Forbes, are just as confident of winning the English League again. In their sumptuously fitted gymnasium, the Gunners tune up for the 9-month season. Here we find Wally Barnes, who plays for Wales as regularly as Archie Macaulay, Arsenal's right half, plays for Scotland. Always famous for the superb equipment installed to benefit their players, Arsenal at one time were losing money. Now, with £35,000 received for season tickets alone, a bumper season lies ahead. Matches are booked up weeks ahead, and the office staff is kept busy returning thousands of unsuccessful applications. Sporting show business is flourishing. Asked if he thinks his stars will hold the limelight, manager Tom Whittaker says,
Arsenal are going all out for championship honours this season. We have some of the finest players in the game today, and they will certainly be leaving their mark in league football.
And as we leave the Arsenal players removing the marks of their last rehearsal for the big show, they assure us that their best turn is still good footwork. Of Britain's 5 million soccer fans, only a few appreciate the work involved in running a successful club. At Hibernian, manager Hugh Shaw, skipper Davy Shaw and trainer McCall began planning when last season ended. With 50 players on their books and with internationals like Gordon Smith, Hibs think that they can retain the championship won last year.
Glory, glory to the high beast. Glory, glory to the high beast. Glory, glory to the high beast. We are the high beast boys.
Here, I'll find it. Yeah, roll y'all.
Played for a juvenile team called Edinburgh Thistle, which was really more or less a nursery for the... We trained at Easter Road here, and the groundsman ran the team, so we had a lot of access to Easter Road. And we had a great spell, Edinburgh Thistle. We were a very, very good side. And we won the Scottish Juvenile Cup and 7 other trophies, and it was a great time. And obviously I was under the eye of the Hibs because I was playing so much here, you know.
I'm in my bed about 11 or half 11 at night, and the brother who was next to me was living at home. So he comes to my bedroom and he says, "You have to go to Easter Road tomorrow night." And, you know, I said, "What?" He says, "You have to go to Easter Road tomorrow night. You're being picked up by a taxi."
Dave McLean was the manager of the Hearts at the time, and he asked if I would go down, and he sent the word that if I would come down to Tynecastle to have a word with him. But when my dad told the Hibs groundsman that, within 24 hours I was up in the boardroom at Easter Road.
And my old father, he was there, and he said, before I went away with Lukey, he says, "Now remember," he says, "don't you sign any forms for anything tonight, you know." So I said, "All right, Pop," so "don't you worry." You know.
I played on my own for hours with tennis ball. I used to deliver newspapers when I was young, and the ball would be bouncing off walls and everything, and I'd be delivering papers, playing with the ball all the time. And I used to go out the back of the house, and there was a slanted roof, and the tennis ball would come off at different angles, and I had to trap it and kick it or whatever it came off at. I'd play there for hours on my own. And I think that, you know, when it came to playing with football, he found it easier.
The brother that was attached to Bo'ness, he accompanies me. He said, "I'll come through with you." So we come through, and this is the place, this actual boardroom was the place. It was still the boardroom today as it was then, you know. So Mr. McCartney who, well, you look at the man and you're overawed with, you know, it's such a presence. Big man, bow tie, carnation in the buttonhole, you know.
But I never thought I'd ever be a professional. I never ever thought I'd play for Hibs or Heart. I was a Heart supporter when I was young. Tommy Walker was mad.
And of course, out comes the bottle of John Barleycorn. So he says to my brother, "Is you care for this?" You know, "Oh, yes." So he said to me, he says, "Of course you won't drink, Eddie." I said, "No, I don't drink, Mr. McCartney," you know. Didn't make him any wiser. Anyhow, the more he's tipping the bottle, the more often my brother's saying to me, "Yeah, things look all right here, you know, and this, that." Well, eventually I signed, and that was the start.
I had to go to the army. I had to do my 2 years. Hibs managed to get me it was a post into Edinburgh Castle, where I was a driver for the RASC. So I used to drive this general around. So I managed to play for Hibs then.
I was a Hearts supporter. I was brought up as a Hearts supporter. They wanted to see me. They wanted to see what I was capable of, whereas Hibs dismissed that part of it and said, well, and of course I said, right, I don't know much about either team, but I do know that Hibs went out of their way to be good to me, you know?
They offered me £20 to sign, which I jumped at, which was twice as much that Gordon Smith got 4 years earlier, and Gordon still rankles about that.
£10. £10. I was like a millionaire.
Aberdeen kick off against Hibernian at Edinburgh. The Hibs in white sleeves break up the Dons' first attack, and Bobby Coombs sets his forwards going. Down at the Aberdeen end, goalie Martin has to punch a corner to save the situation. A few minutes later, the Dons switch play to the Hibernian goalmouth. The ball swings in from the wing, Roger heads, and it's a goal. Aberdeen are one up in the first 10 minutes. That's shaken the Hibs defence. Hibernian still haven't equalised when play resumes after half-time. Aberdeen keep up the attack, but right-back Clark halts their charge. As Martin collects, Turnbull rushes, but it's he, not the ball, who gets netted. Now the Hibs pull out the stops and harass the Aberdeen defence. Johnston, Riley and Smith go into action again. But inside left, Hay breaks the move and clears upfield. At the Hibernian end, the Dons look for a chink in their opponent's armour. The ball runs out to inside right Yorston, who's unmarked. He has a slam, but he's way off target. Aberdeen's Buckley tries rushing goalie Younger, and there's a collision that rocks them both. The Dons goalie Martin is soon in his own spot of trouble, and down he goes to stop the Hibs attacks. Smith takes a free kick for the Hibs. Buchanan heads, and it's a goal. The final score remains at 1-1, and now Aberdeen and Hibernian get ready to meet at the replay.
Willie, he could beat a player, and the player knew the way he was going to beat him, but he couldn't do anything about it, you know. And Willie used to lift the ball over a guy. He used to just lift it up with his foot over him, and away.
Willie was fast, great left foot, one of the best left foots I've ever seen, and he could cross the ball. Good crosser. They talk about Beckham nowadays, but Willie Orman could cross the ball as well as anybody you'll ever see. his left foot was deadly, and plus his left foot, I always said he should have had a licence for it because it was like a gun going off when he hit a ball.
Aberdeen aren't having it all their own way. Hibbs' left winger Ormond tussles with Morrison, but the Dons goalie gets the better of him.
Willie Ormond was very good too. His right foot was a wee bit suspect. But I mean, he definitely paid his way. There was never any question really, except for Combe getting in now and again into the famous 5 team.
They used to, in those days, the weekly news was a Glasgow paper, and they used to have an article in it every week, this guy, and it was about one fitty.
Willie Ormond was very fast, very direct, very pacey.
Well, that's what we used to call Willie, one fitty, you know. Willie was a great left foot though, you know.
His right foot was for standing on, but it didn't matter. He had all the strength in one foot, and he was a great player.
And you had Riley, Laurie Riley, who was always a thorn in the side of any defence. He never at rest, Riley.
Laurie was a tough little character and could score goals from anywhere. Always in the thick of it. Always won the ball.
Hibbs fight back, and Riley, who's played so well, nets his second goal.
Hibbs put me into the first team and played me inside right, and I'd never played inside right. Seniors, I'd played on the wing or at centre forward. But when I was picked to inside right, I was playing inside right to Gordon Smith again, my hero. And truthfully, it was maybe not a good move, because whenever I got the ball, the only person I was interested in passing to was Gordon Smith.
I think probably his number one quality was simply determination. There was no way you'd find it near enough impossible to dispossess him.
Sharp as attack over 5-6 yards. That was one of his main fortes. After that, he didn't have pace at all, but just 5 or 6 yards, he was lightning.
A lot of people have said, and I do believe it was quickness of thought and anticipation. I could anticipate what was going to happen, and it gives you that start, you know.
Now here's a Hibbs attack. Smith centres, but Johnson saves. But the ball only goes to Riley, and the centre scores to make it 1-1.
Eddie was a strong, good inside forward. Had a very strong shot.
Eddie was in for strength, power.
Could score from anywhere. Good at hitting the ball first time. One of the best I ever seen hitting the ball first time. And they could take free kicks, penalties, you name it.
Inside right Turnbull heads a beauty, but Morrison clears, and now Aberdeen are on the move.
I was a strong player. I was what they used to say, the old inside forward. You know, you had to have an engine up and down the field.
Turnbull had phenomenal power in his shooting. That's his number one asset.
Not being boastful, I had skill. I had to have skill and a football brain. Being a part of this 5.
I'd love to know how many goals he scored. Rockets, you know, and he just came to expect that from him. Willie Ormond on the left, and there was a wee thing went on between them, and it was great.
Then there was Johnston, who was a really skillful player as well. Real skill, wee Bobby.
Bobby was in for brilliant ball control.
Great football brain, could see situations and release the ball at the right time, you know, take men on when he had to.
My main job was to try and make the forward line tick and pass the ball and make chances for the rest of them. I didn't score many goals, but if you're making goals, you can't score them. So that was my main thing. Was I played sort of what the midfield players would play nowadays, I think, or what they call midfield players nowadays.
His main asset was dribbling the ball. I mean, he was a great hit with the Scottish team. Bobby Johnson played some great stuff. He rose to the occasion, he enjoyed every minute.
The brilliant Scottish line gets swiftly into action, and Johnston slams in a shot that nearly beats Williams.
I think I'd be about the slowest in the forward line, but my brain probably worked quicker than anybody else's. So I seemed to be quicker than what I actually was, because I was always there ready to receive the ball before it was actually put there. Gordon was a legend on his own, wasn't he? You know, Hibs supporters liked him. They liked his style of play. He was quick, could beat a man, good crosser of the ball. He had everything that an outside right needed.
Gordon Smith was just a unique. He was unbeatable.
Smith was an artist. Smith was a very, very cultured player. You know, fantastic skills. Obviously two-footed, he had two wonderful feet and good football brain.
Pace. Pace is number one. I mean, if you've got the ball and you take it up here and you just do like that and you're there and you're going to tackle, and I'm away going up there as fast as I can go, and you're just left standing or sitting.
I get ribbed about this quite a lot, but when I was only about 13, I went down to see the Hibs play in the Hearts at Tynecastle, and Gordon had a great game. And after the game, he was walking up Henderson Terrace, and I went across to him and spoke to Gordon and asked him if he would like to come up to my house for a cup of tea, which Gordon refused, obviously, but that, I can always remember that. And Gordon still, he doesn't remember it, but he knows that I was the one that did it, you know.
He was an exceptional guy. He was a very good liver, you know, never messed about or anything. Good liver. Loved football. Loved everything about it.
He was as good as Stanley Matthews. He was the Scottish Stanley Matthews.
Oh, I could give him 10 yards, 100.
Now Smith is leading a Hibs attack on the right wing. He tricks left half Glenn and centres. A cross by Smith is almost cleared when right half Nichols slams it back.
Mondays was a road run, which I never liked, didn't it? We used to go around Arthur Seat sometimes and finish up down in Portobello. Oh, it was a nightmare. I didn't like running on the road. Tuesday was golf day. Normally, we didn't have many midweek games in these days, and if we did, it was Monday night usually. You don't have as many midweek games as what they have nowadays. So we used to go golfing on a Tuesday. It would be Long Nidri or North Berwick or anywhere down the coast. And Wednesday, Thursday was fairly hard training. Hugh Shaw was a hard trainer, made you train. Well, it was mainly exercise, and then they had a place called the Sweatbox, where it was just a bit in the stand, where we used to just nickname it the Sweatbox because everybody went in sweating. Used to sweat. Your jersey would get black with sweat.
The only black mark you had at training in those days, you were never allowed the ball at training.
But if you had had a bad result the week before, you weren't allowed to have the ball, you see. That was a punishment. Seems odd, doesn't it?
It used to make me wonder how we achieved what we achieved, because we never trained with a ball. They used to say, don't get a ball during the week at training, you're hungry for it on a Saturday. You know, this was their philosophy.
Friday was the easiest day. We used to just get spikes on and just have a few sprints.
We just did laps and sprints and a bit of ball work, but sometimes the groundsman wasn't too happy if you were on the ground, so yeah, it was quite restricted.
And then we had this meeting about different things, what would go on the field the next day, which more or less never happened because you can't plan a football match.
I think he just simply took for granted that that the Five were a very good side indeed. We used to have players' meetings, and nobody really paid much attention to any of the ones that weren't in the actual team, you know?
We had a meeting every Friday, and the manager asked anybody to put forward his suggestions, but we just went out and played our own game. It was not a thing you could practice. It was just natural, and it's easier and much better if you do a thing naturally than try to do something that you've been rehearsing. You know?
At Kirkcaldy, volunteers helped to shift 3 inches of snow in good time for Raith Rovers to play their first round cup tie against the Hibernians at Starks Park. Smith of Hibs, that's him juggling with the ball, won the toss, and with some throaty encouragement, the Rovers in dark jerseys kicked off. It was a light and lively ball and a slippery field. Here's Smith starting a Hibs movement. He passes out to Combe, but Combe's centre was easily collected by Johnston and cleared. When Raith settled down, the league leaders found they had a hard tussle on their hands. Raith looked dangerous when Copland raced through, but Younger just beat him to it. It was all-out cut-and-thrust football with plenty of thrills and excitement. Fine, heartening football for a cold afternoon.
We went out to play walking football. We did. That's how confident we were. You know, went out, play walking football. Roll the ball about, you know. They're rattling on.
We were all good thinkers, quick thinkers. Anticipation was half the battle. And if you anticipate something, you're off before the other one moves, and it gives you a big start.
I think myself, 5-letter word covers it. It was a blend. It was a blend.
Here was another grand Hibs move, started when Govan robbed Kelly. The right back started to run through till he got his men positioned, then passed to Johnston. Johnston to Combe. Combe to Turnbull, and a grand close-up of good football ends as Turnbull centres.
No plans. We didn't plan very much, but we just seemed to all gel together. And I think it was up to the manager. That Willie McCartney was the man that did the job, and he just told us to go out there and enjoy ourselves, and that's how we played the game. And everybody just seemed to be able to switch with each other without having to tell each other. It was just like we all knew what each other was doing.
Interchanging, you know, and I wouldn't say we perfected it, but near enough. We were all very happy together.
Of course we interchanged, and the theory behind it was, if I moved from position A to position B, and nobody came with me, I'm free. But if someone comes with me, there's space for somebody else to go to. You know, and it was simplicity.
At half-time, there was no score. In the second half, Hibs tried hard to get a goal. Wraith had a narrow escape when McClure kicked almost off the goal line.
We were the only Club 5 that ever did this. Had this down to a fine art, this interchanging. And of course, when you interchange, you've got to do the job. The position you're in, it's different from the position you've been used to, so you've got to be able to carry out the role. If I ended up in the right wing, I've got to be able to cross the ball or get in a position where I can cut it back. Same if I'm on the left wing. If I'm in the centre, which actually I played in all 5 forward positions, 2 wing half positions, and on emergency slotted in at full back once, you know. But I'm not saying I was the only one that could do that. Any of the 5, when it came to emergency, they could have slotted in, you know.
All could score goals, and we were fortunate that if somebody had an off day, there was always one of the other 4 would have an on day, you know.
Then from a corner, there was a hot moment round Hibs' goal. In fact, goalie Younger had quite a busy afternoon.
Defence was a weak spot in the Hibs team, and always was while I was there. I mean, we always had good goalkeepers. I always thought the goalkeepers were all right, but the defence was fairly weak compared to the forward line. But the Hibs was an attacking team.
We had a lot of good defenders. A lot of people are kind of inclined to forget that the famous 5 had a ruddy good back 6. That we were the glamour boys, we got the publicity, you know. But they were hell of a good players to have behind you, I can assure you that.
The forward line had a good record over the years. I mean, they couldn't take it away to the forward line. So it was only natural that the press would go, I talk about the forward line.
In fact, there was one game we played, and the press came in and they wanted the 5 of us to take a photograph in the changing room, sitting after the game, the 5 of us all sitting together, and Jock Govan says, Christ, there's the bloody team getting their photograph taken a game, the team, you know.
Well, they didn't like it. It's only natural. I mean, I think Jock Govan and some of them didn't like it at all, because they often used to come in, do you think our names will ever get in the paper?
But no, they took it on in very good heart. In fact, the atmosphere about the changing rooms then, the comedians were all in defence, I can assure you, and that made it good.
Here's another Wraith attack. McEwen centres. Copland heads, but straight into Younger's arms. The match ended in a goalless draw. There'll be many more cup ties with more goals, but far fewer thrills.
We'd played Aberdeen in a cup tie, I think it was. We were up at Pittodrie, and we were beaten. So there was Johnson and Norman and I, we were the 3 musketeers, you know, we always nicked about together like. And the train in those days took 4 hours virtually to go from Edinburgh to Aberdeen, so by the time we leave Pittodrie, and the last train I think at that time was about 6:30, so it's 10:30, 11 o'clock at night before you get home. But anyhow, I was that sick after, you know, being beaten. So I said to Ormond and Johnson, I said, I don't know about you two, but I'm not going on that train tonight. And they're humming and hawing, you know. I said, I'm just telling you that I'm not going on the train. I said, but if you two think likewise, I'll be, there was a wee pub that we used to nick into for a half pint before we got on the train, you know. I'll be across in the wee boozer, just so anyhow, and I go in the boozer, and I'm having a half pint there, and who walks in? Ormond and Johnston.
I was stayed in Aberdeen, in this hotel, I think, and we had to get an early morning train, go back into Edinburgh, and then had to go training.
And we get up, get the first train out of Aberdeen in the morning. We used to call it a milk train, you know.
We was a bit worried about going back to the ground, but he said, well, the three of us, so that's it. He'll have to, if he's got to drop one of us, he'll have to drop the three of us.
And we come back here, come down for training, we're down, come in the dressing room, and I just get in the door, and I'm just taking my jacket off, just when the trainer says, old Jimmy McCauley says to me, upstairs, the boss wants to see you. So up I come, you know, knock the door here. Hi, come in, you know. And you know, what says, you know, what, you know, the club, we go all travel together as a unit and come back as a unit. I said, oh, I should have known, you know. But, you know, I was that disappointed, you know, because that particular game, I felt there was one or two of them didn't pull their weight, you know, as they should have done. And I thought, and this sparked it off for me not coming back with the team. And they blamed me for being responsible, see, for Ormond and Johnston. And I thought, you know, here have I've been away, I've been in the Navy, I've been in the bloody war for 5 years, you know, and I come back and this hurt me, you know. I'm being blamed for leading Ormond and Johnston astray. Oh, no. Anyway, the old boss, he was a wonderful old guy, old Hugh, and you know, I'm sitting there and I've let him down. I know I've let him down, but it was at the time how I felt. So he's talking away, and he says, "Do you know what I'm going to do?" And I says, "No, I'm looking for punishment, some description of punishment, you know." He says, "Well, I'm going to write a letter to your mother." And I thought, and that was it. And he wrote a letter to my mother, you know, but that was my punishment. He wrote a letter to my mother.
As far as spectators was concerned, there was nothing else for them to do on a Saturday. The pubs closed at 3 o'clock. Football's kicked off at 3 o'clock. The pubs closed at 3 o'clock. Working class lads didn't play golf. There is so much more nowadays for them to do. That's why we used to get crowds of 25, 30, 35,000 for ordinary league games.
Even the away crowds appreciated the way we played the game. You know, it didn't matter where you went in Scotland in these days. I mean, you used to go to Race Rovers and St Mirren games like that, and they would get massive crowds because they came to see entertainment. It was football at its very best. I think it was entertaining.
In Edinburgh, at the Easter Road Ground, Hibernian in white-sleeved shirts meet Glasgow Rangers in the third-round replay of the Scottish Cup. Hibs were all out to avoid a repeat goalless cup tie draw. We spotlight Rangers goalie Brown, firm against continuous attacks by the Hibs forwards. Now watch him save from Finnegan, number 8. First Hibernian goal comes after brilliant play by outside right Gordon Smith. Ormond scores with a terrific drive. Just before the end, Hibs get goal number 2 from an Ormond pass to centre forward Cuthbertson. A Hibs triumph and a great day for Edinburgh.
Glory, glory to the high bees. Glory, glory to the high bees. Glory, glory to the high bees. We are the high bee boys.
No celebrations or nothing. No, but it was completely different. And you didn't qualify for Europe or things like that. You just won the league. But truthfully, we were fully expected to win the league. So it was no great thing, you know. And it wasn't like a one-off, like a cup final. See, we never could win the cup, unfortunately, and that was our ambition, to win the cup. There was much more glamour winning the Scottish Cup. Now it's all for the Scottish League because it gets you into this European Cup.
Motherwell kick off at Tynecastle Park against Hibernians, and they're on the attack right away.
We just did to have the right luck at the right time. The best game we played was against Motherwell at Tynecastle, but we got a player taken off with a broken leg and another one off injured, so we finished up with 9 players and we lost by the odd goal.
The centre forward's getting into position, he shoots, and it's a goal. Inside 20 seconds, Motherwell are 1 up. A quarter of an hour later, McLeod's throw-in is headed to right winger Humphreys. He starts a run down the wing, and Hibs left-back Ogilvie gives chase. Ogilvie intercepts Watson. There's a collision, and Ogilvie's down, badly hurt. It's a bad blow for Hibs. Ogilvie's broken a leg, and they're a man short for the rest of the match. Now here's a Hibs attack. Smith centres, but Johnson saves. But the ball only goes to Riley, and the centre scores to make it 1-1. Watson back heels, and Kelly has scored again to make it Motherwell 2, Hibs 1 at half-time. Leading by a goal, Motherwell turn on the pressure at the resumption, and 1 man short, Hibs are hard-pressed. And when McLeod scores, Motherwell's third, they're as good as in the final. Hibs fight back, and Riley, who's played so well, nets his second goal. But that's the end, and Motherwell win 3-2.
You were spoiled. You had 5 internationals in 1 forward line. And that, to me, will never happen again. Never.
England tackle Scotland in the 68th match between the two countries, and 30,000 from north of the border roar as the brilliant Scottish line gets swiftly into action, and Johnston slams in a shot that nearly beats Williams. England are favourites, but it's all Scotland so far, with the fast forwards tearing gaps down the centre. England haven't won at Wembley since 1934, and here's Williams hard tested again. It's a corner. Waddle takes the kick. The Rangers winger sends over to Gooden. This looks dangerous for England, but the ball's cleared upfield. It's a high one. Little and Mannion jump for it. There's a collision, and they're both down. And they're staying there. Little's all right, though, but it's a shock for England as Mannion's carried off with a fractured cheekbone and out of the match. Now here's Billy Steele starting a Scottish attack. The Dundee man passes inside to Johnston, but the Hibs wonder boy is beaten by Williams, who clears. At the other end, Mortensen gets the ball and passes to Hassel. The 22-year-old Huddersfield forward makes a dazzling run. He shoots and puts England 1 up in his first international. 8 minutes later and Scotland pressing. Waddle passes to Evans but kicks forward. Over comes a Riley cross and Johnston slams in the equaliser.
I was lucky. My first cap was against England in 1951 and Wembley, and I managed to score. And I was back in soccer on Wednesday night and watching it on the Pathy News. So that was a bit of a coup for me.
One all at half-time, Scotland are now pressing for the lead. They missed several chances in the first half, but England's 10 men have played like a team and a half. From a nice movement between Little and Steele, Steele runs on and passes. Riley bursts through and shoots. And it's Scotland 2, England 1. Redpath throws in. It's returned and he passes upfield to Steele. The Dundee man steadies himself and sends over a high centre. Williams runs out and intercepts, but he's fumbled it, and the ball's on the ground. Outside left, Little sees a chance. It's an open goal, and he shoots. Scotland 3, England 1. Blackpool captain Johnston passes to Matthews, and the Wizard, who's played a grand game, centres. Finney is there and shoots, but the ball just skims the goal. It's grand the way this England team of 10 are fighting. Here's another attack. Finney makes a brilliant solo run. Cowan comes out, but the ball's in the net. But that's the end, and Scotland win the championship. England meets Scotland at Wembley, and that means there isn't a seat to be found anywhere in the house. Scotland in navy blue shirts kick off and set the ball rolling in the most vital international of the year. England move down to the Scots end, and Froggatt's shot is saved by Farm. Scotland are on the attack. Young Tommy Docherty over on the right flank sends in a centre. Merrick takes a tumble in saving, but he manages to cope. Back come white-shirted England. Ivor Brodis receives and smartly beats Frank Brennan's challenge. On he races towards the Scottish goal. He shoots, but goalie Farm just gets there. England keep up the pressure, playing the sort of stuff we expect at Wembley. Finney to Brodis, who crashes it in for England's first goal. Billy Steele receives for Scotland, who are fighting back with everything they've got, and that's plenty. A hard shot hits the crossbar. That was a close one for England. Here comes another moment that shakes the England supporters. Scotland still haven't scored by half-time, but they're putting up a great show and making those critics who forecast an easy victory for England eat their words. Just watch their forwards go into action like a well-oiled machine. Bobby Johnston shoots. The ball rebounds, but Riley is there to finish the job. England and Scotland are 1-1. With the score equal, England team up to crack Scotland's defence. Matt Lofthouse gets it and lines it up for Froggatt, who taps it a shade too near goalie Farm, who takes a dive at Froggatt's feet and keeps his goal intact. Tom Finney leads an English rush. Cox intercepts, but Finney centres to Brodis, who bangs it in for England's second goal. But Cox is hurt. He injured his ankle during that tussle with Finney, and a stretcher parter is called for. Scotland are up against it now with only 10 men. They'll certainly miss Cox, who's been defending brilliantly. Brodis has it for England. A pass to Wright, who sets his team going towards the Scots goal again. Well in the fore is Lofthouse. He sends over a centre, but Farm cuts it off. Ivor Brodis has it. But he misses way over the top. There are only a few seconds of play left, but Scotland aren't going to go down without a fight and keep up the pressure. Riley and Johnston team up. Riley gets it, he shoots, and he's done it. He's done it. Scotland have made it a draw with England by 2 goals apiece, right on the final whistle.
Yeah, he scored against England in the last minute to equalise, to save us from being beaten. And one of the newspapers, maybe a couple at the very most, had a headline, "Last minute Riley saves Scotland," and it just stuck from then onwards.
Good ball, Bobby. Response to the camera.
Well, Gordon was the pin-up boy, wasn't he? You know, and the press wrote more about Gordon than any of the rest of the four of us, I think. Which I don't think most of some of the forwards didn't like. We were a bit peeved at times, I think. Gordon, he was always a golden boy, wasn't he? You know, I think even we, the chairman and different people, Gordon was the man. And he was the first one to get a benefit match as well, which didn't go down too well with some of us. They should have guaranteed it. I would have still been there. I wouldn't have signed for Manchester City if they guaranteed me a benefit. But there was no guarantee coming. When I'd asked for it, and Laurie had asked for it, and Laurie had fell out with him for a little while about it, about his benefit. And I think the Hibs had come clean with the whole five of us. I mean, Gordon got 70-odd, they got 76,000 people at his benefit match against Manchester United. I'm not sure what year, it'd be about 1954, but I was just guessing. But I mean, Gordon had been there since 1941, so he deserved it. I mean, if you do 10 years at one club, you were supposed to be guaranteed a benefit in these days. So he'd done about 14, and he got his benefit. Then Laurie tried to get the benefit, and then, of course, we all wanted, which is only natural. And then the chairman wouldn't guarantee us it. So I'd made up my mind then, and I thought, well, if they're not going to give me a benefit, there's no point in stopping.
Smith, Johnston, Riley, Turnbull, Ormond, we will see again, but their memory marches on.
Rangers were our rivals then. Celtic were going through quite an ordinary spell. It was the Rangers that we were the team that we were vying with.
Going to Parkhead, you were going there, knowing we're going to win. Going to Ibrox, we know we're going to win. You know, we know, because we're a better team.
A crowd bordering on 100,000 converged on Ibrox Park Stadium to see the Scottish Cup tie match between Rangers and Hibernian. Walkie-talkie assisted the police to control the crowds, who were entertained before the kick-off by Scottish girl Piper.
Now there's about 120,000 people there. No seating as there is today. You know, all the punters are there and the atmosphere's fantastic.
It was a great game, that. One of the greatest games I think I've ever played, and he's a crowd of 90-odd thousand, you know. So I used to love playing in games when you get big crowds. I think it helps the players. I think it raises the game, you know.
Hibernian, wearing shirts with plain white sleeves, kicked off. But it was the Rangers who opened the scoring 5 minutes after the start. I think this really surprised the visitors, and they fought back hard to get on equal terms. After some 40 minutes play, they achieved it through Smith. So it was that the second half began on level terms. Hibernian started the attack, but not for long, for the Rangers again went ahead when Simpson caught Younger off his mark. Play was really tense, with both teams going all out to increase their score, and it was Hibernian who proved the better, for after some vigorous attacking, they once again brought themselves on a par with the Rangers.
Sammy Cox was playing for Rangers, and Sammy and I were great buddies. You know, when we went away on trips with the National League sides and that, great buddies. So during the course of, when it's 2-2, Sammy said to me, and you know, in the course of the game, well, Ned, he says, see you on Wednesday. And it was looking like that. So I said, Sammy, don't be too sure of that. You know.
Rangers defence was very strong all round that time. He had Big George Young and Willie Woodburn, Sammy Cox, Shaw, and, you know, Tiger Shaw. And I think it was always a battle between the Rangers defence and the Hibs forward.
We got a free kick about 25, 30 yards out. And those days I just let rip any distance. I took all the free kicks in, you know, goal scoring distance.
The Rangers defence was they put a line up about 6 or 7 players, thinking Eddie was going to really thump it.
Just picture the Rangers defence, big Willie Woodburn, big Geordie Young, Sammy, Ian McCall, you know, they're all most of them were big men. They're lined up. And this wee guy gets in amongst them, wee Bobby Johnson. You know, these guys are towering over him.
Eddie shaped up to take a free kick, one of his thingways, one of his blockbusters.
And I come rattling up, and I just ping it to Bobby. You know, they're expecting me to shoot. I just ping it to him.
I thought Eddie was going to shoot, and the next thing he just slipped it to me.
And he flicks it up with one foot, and he kicks it overhead, over their heads.
Just helped it on with my right foot, and it sort of curled away into the far corner.
Poor Bobby Brown, Bobby's standing there, hoping hell to get in this ball.
Johnston hooked the ball past Brown, thus giving Hibernian a well-deserved victory.
As soon as I chipped it, I knew it was in the net.
Now, we had never worked this free kick, never worked it, because we never got the ball, and we did this. So it just shows you how two minds were thinking.
I think the Rangers were that surprised themselves. They couldn't believe it.
(3-2). Old Cabbage and Ribs done it again.
My heart was broken. My heart was broken. Sorrow, 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 sorrow. My heart was broken. My heart was broken. You saw it. You cleaned it, you touched it, you saved it. My tears are drying, my tears are drying. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. My tears my blindness while I'm worth my room on this earth. I will be with you while the chief with sunshine on leaf. I'll thank him for his work in your birth and my birth. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm, 90% of it all, truthfully, is skill anyway.
It was just natural football ability that did it.
The Hibs forward line was the best I've ever played in anyway, without a doubt. I mean, I never saw any players in England that could have lived with the Hibs forward line.
What he did say is, I mean, they were a very, very good team, and they just knitted. It was just pure ability.
While I'm worth my room on this earth, I will be with you while the chief with sunshine on leaf. I'll thank him for his work and your birth and my birth. Yeah, 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 yeah.
You know, in those days, Hibs were the number one. Make no mistake about it. We were number one.